I didn't know this, but apparently Donald Trump's birthday is coming up, and it's always tough to know exactly what to buy for someone's birthday. So he's simplifying the process for his followers, and he'll accept money, and he's not necessarily going to let you know that it's being taken from you. He's just going to steal the money from you. Apparently, that's actually happening. So this is sort of an update of a story we talked about a few months ago, where he's using these little manipulative tricks to scam his most devoted and supportive followers out of their money, this time tying it into his birthday. So when supporters donate via the website Save America's site, the website automatically ticks a box saying they would like to donate the same exact amount on Trump's birthday, which is June 14th. So if you donate $250, the website automatically opts them into donating $250 more on June 14th. It also, by the way, automatically ticks a box to say that the supporter wants to make their contribution a monthly donation, which is inconvenient if you donate $5. But when you've donated $250, $1,000, that is potentially a significant problem. And we know from past reporting that there are former now supporters of his who lost thousands of dollars, who in the course of just a month might have had $8,000 taken out of their account that they had no interest in donating because they either didn't notice these sorts of things, or there's the belief that it possibly might have been done regardless of that. Those court cases are ongoing. But Bridget, this is pretty dirty. Like, they're already giving you money to sort of drain them of even more. Ooh.
It's bad. I mean, I hate to say this. I don't want to blame the victim, but at this point, if you're still giving money to Donald Trump, this stuff is all public knowledge. It is a publicly known fact that Donald Trump scams his most ardent supporters out of their money. And for a lot of folks, like, you would really feel that. Like you said, $5 here and there, okay, maybe. Talking about thousands of dollars, that would wreak financial havoc on a lot of people's lives. And so I feel like if you are still giving him money at this point, after we have all of this publicly available data about the fact that he scams people, I don't know what to say. I mean, he scams everybody he comes in contact with. He is a scammer. If people have not internalized that by now, I don't know what to say. I do feel kind of bad for these people because I wonder, like, how many of them are elderly folks who might not really, it's like, but that just makes it all the more scummy that he does this to his most fervent supporters. It's like, this is someone who is just completely amoral.
Yeah, and to keep it as the same donation, like if I have $500 to give to my God Emperor, and then to take $500 every month, nobody deserves a $500 birthday present. Certainly not Donald Trump. Yeah, I do feel bad for him. I'm cursed by this damn bleeding heart. I feel bad for people who probably want me to die in agony. But yeah, and by the way, overall, we know, the myth that his followers tend to be economically anxious people who've been left behind. Sure, there's a lot of those. On average, they tend to be a little bit better off than your average American. But that said, few Americans can afford to have hundreds of dollars taken out of their account every month without that doing significant damage to their family. Now that said, there's a couple more little wrinkles to this that I want to get to. And that is that an analysis by The Independent found that Save America sent at least one text message to supporters every day in May, urging them to donate money. Ahead of fundraising deadlines, sometimes they sent texts just hours apart, which seems to me like a great way to get people to opt out of the text messages, because not like if you give, they're gonna keep robbing you every single month. And even then, they're still gonna be begging for more money every couple of hours. That seems like a lot. Then they lied about that too, with some of the texts looking like they were personally written by Trump or his relatives, including Eric Trump and Donald Trump, who, remember, said years ago they were gonna stay out of politics, or Melania. One example was Eric and Don Jr. It's so important that we're both texting you. Well, how does that work out? Does each one have a thumb on the phone? Are they passing it back and forth? Here's how it works out. Neither of them were involved in this. Neither of them even knows that it's happening. It's so, from top to bottom, so dishonest.
Yeah, it's bad. I used to be I used to work in places where I sent these kind of donation requests. Every best practice of how you do this, they are breaking, and they're not just breaking it, they're like lighting it on fire. The fake, oh, this is just me personally texting you. The very intense, urgent, I don't want to have to tell Trump that you ignored him.
Oh my God, yeah.
goes against the best practices of how online fundraising works.
Yeah, my favorite of that was they would often do on Facebook ads. It was, we're gonna deliver a list of supporters to Trump. You don't wanna not be on that list. I just like, you believe that they're like walking into the Oval Office at that point, like a big stack of papers, and he's like, where's Tim? No, that's not happening. None of this is happening. And look, you make the good point that a lot of people do things like this, not necessarily as egregious as the birthday thing or the, like the forcing it to be every month, but it isn't just Trump. And so when we're focusing on this now, and when we were a few months ago, look, it is partially that I wanna get through to some Trump supporters and let them know that they're being scammed. Partially, I want them to stop doing this, but I also want this to be a thing that people think about for politicians other than Trump and organizations other than Save America. Be careful of those automatically ticking boxes. I want people to support politicians and groups that they like. Definitely do. I want people more involved in politics, but I don't want them to be scammed, especially working class Americans that are barely getting by and desperately need the help of politicians. What they need least is to have their last dollars robbed by politicians. So give if you want to, that would be great, but I don't want anyone to be obligated to do so. So be aware of this.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.